So last year we were playing Desert Hills, and it was like the top of the fifth inning, and I was up to bat, and as I scored around to bunt, I took a 89-mile-an-hour fastball straight to the cheekbone, and it shattered every single thing up in my face right here, and it cracked up here, and it's just really scary because once I got hit, I hit the ground and no one knew what to do. Everyone was kind of like shocked. Everything went quiet, and before the ambulance got there wasn't really anything anyone could do. My dad, when he was holding my head in his hands, he was just praying that I wouldn't die in his hands, and he said that. And it really hit me hard because I didn't know if I was going to make it. But then once my dad got the oil and he started giving me the blessing, I knew that whatever was going to happen was going to be okay. Like, with my knowledge of like the church and everything that has to do with it, I knew that whatever was going to happen was going to be okay. After what felt like a million years, the ambulance finally showed up. The EMTs lifted me onto the stretcher and rolled me off the field. As I was being rolled off the field, the EMTs with my parents right behind me, Dallin, the pitcher, came up to me with tears running down his face and said, "I'm so sorry." The only thing that I could manage to get out was, "I love you more. It's going to be okay." With that, I was lifted into the ambulance and taken to the hospital. As they rolled me into the hospital, bright lights were the only things that I could see. When I got into my designated room in the ER, the doctors immediately began to assess and examine everything. The only thing I can remember was there was a lot of poking and it hurt. Everything else was handled by my parents. Once assessed, the doctors made it clear that they would not be able to operate that night because the area around my eye was too swollen. They would only be able to give me morphine to numb the pain. When the morphine was put in my IV, I instantly threw up. As the night went on, my fellow teammates came to visit me at the hospital. So did Dallin and a few kids from the other team. I couldn't talk, so I did a lot of listening. Most kids came in crying or still in shock, and some couldn't bear to look at me. Most conversations frequently asked the question whether or not I was going to make it, and in all honesty, no one knew for sure. As everyone began to leave, I was only left with the sound of the faint but distinct beep, beep, beep from the IV machine. As the night went on, I got worse and worse. Every 20 or 30 minutes, I would cough up a mouthful of blood. The doctor explained that it was because my face was bleeding on the inside and the blood had nowhere to go except down my throat, and then I would puke it all out. I finally stopped throwing up around 4 the next morning, barely conscious and enduring the unbearable pain. I made it through the night. While I was in the hospital, I was unable to eat. It was too painful. When I was able to go to the bathroom on my own, I would look in the mirror and cry, just cry. I was broken. I was broken. Not just physically, but mentally too. After a couple days in the hospital and knowing I would be okay, and that I wasn't going to die, I was able to leave the hospital and was told I would have surgery in 2 weeks. I went home with a broken face for 2 weeks until the doctors could operate on me. Those 2 weeks were hard. I felt alone and scared. Once I had my surgery, I had to go through all of it all over again. The pain, the sickness, and the fear. The recovery process was long. I had to wait 3 months before I could do anything active, which made it the hardest 3 months of my life. The gospel of Jesus Christ helps me through it because when He died for us and He atoned for our sins, He felt everything that we felt, physical and emotional and spiritual. He felt all the pain that we've ever felt. Alma 36, verse 3, "And now, O my son Helaman, behold, thou art in thy youth, and therefore I beseech of thee that thou wilt hear my words and learn of me. For I do know that whatsoever shall put their trust in God shall be supported in their trials and their troubles and their afflictions, and shall be lifted up at the last day. Through that whole experience, I never once doubted that God didn't love his children, and that experience, if anything, showed me that God does love his children. And I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.